doing something really no one else is doing with drones. And so if you could talk a little bit about what you're doing with drones, and then we can go a little bit backwards of how you got into that.
Okay, so what we're doing with the drones is we're doing coastal restoration. So that's comprised of seeding clams, seeding oysters to a certain extent through other methods, doing seagrass plantings, mangroves, and spartina. Mangroves and spartina are mainly in the marshes to help stop erosion. Seagrasses and clams are as in the estuaries, like you would think. So before we started doing what we were doing with the drones, it was all done by hand. And that's kind of what got me interested. I thought there's got to be a better way. And so I started looking into the drones, the heavy lift drones, and we work with Helio out of Houston. They're American made, of course. And once we did that, then we hooked up with Jacob and his crowd, and we started trying to put together how we're going to make all this work together and what we're going to design, which we now have 2 patented processes, one for clams and one for seagrasses and aquatic plants, and 1 patent pending for the oysters.
So one thing that might, I think, be helpful is to actually visualize what this looks like, both for Jim, who I think he's probably seen some videos over the last few years as we've been working together, but definitely for all of the viewers that may have seen Develop Air on our podcast so far, or any of the content that we've produced previously.
Cleaning potential, and a team on the First Coast is making it their mission of cleaning rivers in Florida and doing it with the power of clams. Tonight, how the team is taking its efforts to a higher level.
These are not small drones that Ernest is working with.
Correct, 145 pounds maximum takeoff.
A scientist and a drone pilot. Their goal, cleaner waterways.
We're under threat for water quality.
Their secret weapon, baby super clams.
They're 2 millimeters.
2 years ago, Dr. Todd Osborne, a biochemist with the University of Florida, and clam farmer Mike Sullivan teamed up to pour clam larvae, cup by cup, into the Matanzas River in St. Johns County. And now they've advanced their mission.
They'll take off and fly to here.
With a drone that drops these tiny clams by the thousands into the river. Clams act like filters.
They clean water. They take particles out of the water, and that's a great thing for our waterways and to keep them healthy.
It helps everybody that lives in Florida. It helps the economy because it creates jobs and promotes tourism, which is more jobs.
Sullivan has a shellfish hatchery in Crescent Beach.
Probably 150 in there.
And he knows what happens when a river goes bad. His whole clam farm in New Smyrna in the Indian River got wiped out in 2011 and 2013 by brown tide.
But there were survivors, and we found those, and that's what we bred to get these.
He restarted here in St. Johns County, and those survivors he brought with him are called super clams.
These were found right out here.
Now Sullivan breeds millions of them to sell to farmers and to restore riverways. And here at Sullivan's place, these really are the granddaddies of the Matanzas River super clam. These are still producing the little tiny clams that are being dropped by the drone in the Matanzas River. Ernest Hale's drone can carry 50 pounds of clams at a time. He engineered a
50
drone
pounds, that's a money.
that carefully drops the baby clams and keeps them wet.
Which is the key to the whole operation, is that the clams themselves can't dry out. These guys can't get dry or they're not going to survive.
It's hard to see, but the drone is actually dropping 1 million clam babies during the session. But why drop clams from a drone?
If we put them out in a very dispersed pattern, but consistently, then the predators really have to work to get at each one of those. And so the theory is that that's going to increase the likelihood of survival.
Survival of the clams can give rivers a better chance
So
of
it's not a little diffuser that
a spreader plate.
Yeah, spinning and
So this special ops team is dropping millions of baby clams into the Indian River Lagoon in Central Florida, where Sullivan had to leave, as well as here in the fairly healthy Matanzas River.
And so we're trying to be a little proactive here in St. Johns County and Northeast Florida, really.
To better clams.
And more clams.
And more clams. Millions.
That's great.